All right. Hopefully, you can hear me. I am just going to start a little early so that I can give you some time. If you're here, if you come to Tarot Talk with AVA, the magician. So I'll see if anyone wishes to join me for this little talk about the magician. I'll wait. There you are. Okay. Hello, you. Hello. What it's about the magician. And welcome, Yolanda. We'll give some time, perhaps some others would like to join us. And then we are going to discuss the fundamental nature of the symbols in the magician. So, I try to keep these to be an hour or under. I know your time is very valuable, and I want us to have enough time to understand the symbols, to talk about them, but not to make it too long for you. Hello, Esther, Pedro. It's a nice name, Pedro. Hello. I'm very well, and how are you? From New Jersey. Welcome. I'm so happy that you could make it. This is almost like a satsang for me, a beautiful, quiet meditation about the incredibly poignant symbols in the cards that I'm very privileged and very happy to be able to discuss with you today. So we'll give them still a few more moments. It still isn't 5. There we go, it's 5. I said I would start at 5. Love you, Esther. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Well, if anyone wishes to join us during my presentation, please feel free. And let's see what we can discover together. Let's be official. Let's just start. Welcome to Tarot Talk with Ava and my temple. So I would officially like to begin, just as I do my readings, with the sound of the tuning forks. So we will be very established and traditional here. So here we have the magician. The next step in the procession from the fool to the world, to the universe, to enlightenment. This is the step after the fool. And so now we move from the infinite potential, which was expressed in the fool, to this step. When the fool takes that leap of faith, when he steps off of the cliff and descends into the material world, he becomes the magician. He dons the attributes of the material world. The fool represented the silence before the word, before the action, before the creation, the spiritual realm, where we and God were one. The magician represents the word, the power with which God and mankind create the world of experience. So this is so exciting because it's showing us how we take the raw potential spiritual power that we share with God to make our world, to make the manifest world that we live in. So let's have a look a little bit closer to some. Magician is represented, first of all, by the number 1. This is a huge clue. This is the beginning. 1 is the first number that introduces all other numbers. Everything that is to come starts with the number 1. And it also shows number represents separation, individualization, so that each and every number is an entity on its own, unique unto itself. So it has this quality of, first of all, then beginning something and individuating it, individualizing it. The umbilical cord to the spiritual realm, from the fool to the manifest universe that is represented by the magician, that umbilical cord is never severed. It always is intact as long as we are within the world. We never, ever lose our connection to the spiritual realm. And this is demonstrated in the card by, and if you look very closely, you'll see the magician points his right hand upwards to heaven, in which he also holds a wand, a magic wand. his left hand, left arm points down to the earth. This is the transfer of energy. This shows the constant flow of energy from spirit to matter. Now, these cards I don't think are even big enough for you to see, but around the magician's waist is a snake, an ancient symbolic snake, the snake that is eating its own tail. I just mention it for now. Then, on the table in front of him, he has 4 symbols representing the elements, the 4 elements that create all of the material world: water, fire, air. We also have his name. Magician is magic. We have to keep that in mind. You see, he's a magician who uses the elements of the earth to create magic, to create reality. He uses the strength and power of his word, of his seed. God created the manifest universe with the power of the word. This is very interesting because you see, my tuning forks are all about healing with sound, with frequency. If you understand how matter was held together, was made, you could see that the fundamental properties of matter are frequency, sound, and that we as human beings are gifted the ability to translate our thoughts, our ideas, and concepts into word symbols with which we can then create relationships, cultures. We can share. We can mold the world with words, with sound, with frequency. The magic and all translation one another. This is also extremely potent as a creative tool. God creates the universe with who are made in his image. We create our world with our mind, with our thoughts, emotions that are evoked by our thoughts, our concepts, our ideas. We are granted this gift of creation, this magic to create our reality through our intention, our will. This is another extraordinary quality that the magician has. He represents human will. If you remember, or if you saw the presentation I made about the fool, when the fool jumps off the cliff, moving from the spiritual realm into the material realm. He declares, I will be what I will be. This is the embodiment of that declaration. The magician uses his will. I will be what I will be. So communication, individuality, and will power are all expressed in these very simple, beautiful symbols. It's about choice. It's about choosing what words, what ideas, what concepts you will use to change the world, to affect the world, to influence the world. That wand in the right hand of the magician is not only a receiver of energy, receiving the energy that was expressed in the Fool, the spiritual energy, but it's also a transformer of that energy. The energy that he uses to connect to the power beyond the physical realm. The right hand points down to the earth, so he manifests that into physical reality. You see the symbols on the table in front of him. These are his tools as well. The cup on the table is a symbol for our heart, our feelings, our emotions, which give us motivation, desire for something, a need for something, to quench the thirst of the heart for love in all its manifestations. The soul is a complex phenomenon. The soul of man, the mind of man is complex. The sword, you see the sword on the table? The sword is two-edged, having two edges on either side, symbolic of man's mind and its ability to separate good from evil, truth from fiction. This is the way he forges ahead from wrong, truth, and falsehood, so that he can create the best of all possible worlds for himself. The pentacles. The pentacles represent the earth herself, matter, the incubator of that force, that life force that's given out by the magician. The earth gives form and substance to the life force represented by the wands. The wands is the gift of that life force, the spark, the force that animates matter, and is given to you again, free. Every human is transforming the raw potential power, God of spirit, of the fool, bringing it down, of his ego, his individuality. He specifies, he brings on the attributes that were laying dormant. He specifies, he focuses his will, his ideas, his concepts into the things, events, and relationships of his life. So represented by the arms pointing up and down, flow of energy, as above, so below, keeping your ideas pure and in the realm of the good, in love, in kindness, in compassion, translating those ideas, those incentives, those motivations will result in a mirroring of that by matter, as above, below. I forgot one. Look at that. I did. You see above the head of our magician, he has a symbol of the sign of infinity. That's the sign of infinity, the symbol of infinity, which represents the eternal flow of energy between spirit and matter. So both those symbols, you see the arms stretched up and down, and that sign of infinity. This is a process, no ending to it. It is eternal. This is scripture that the tarot represents, the beautiful tale of how everything is created and how we can partake of the power and the magic of that creation. The snake is again a very ancient symbol. As we live through where we, that is and body action of the head of the snake, the soul of the snake. Eat the body, eat our own body, the life, the events, earth becomes, it becomes our mind, our heart. It reflects our mind and heart. The body is the physical substance created from our mind, our heart, and we eat that, we become it again. And we grow through those experiences. Your everydays, your decisions, every moment, every decision, every new creation comes a part of you, ever growing spirit. Your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings are that. And forever you are creating yourself, absorbing every experience into yourself. That's what that beautiful symbol really means. So there you go. All right. In a nutshell, oh my goodness. Let me say hello to everyone here. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I hope you enjoyed that. We aren't through yet, but yes. Merak, 2012. All right. You're from Amsterdam, one of my favorite places. One of my favorite places. I have a Dutch girlfriend here. Isn't that nice? Riel, Fire Style. Sacred Tarot Guides. Isn't that beautiful? Welcome. Hugs to you all. If you have any questions about the card, I don't know if I've, let me try to think about it, whether I've excluded any or forgotten anything about that card that's relevant. It is will. It is individual power to create. It represents pure action. It is about magic. The magic that only seems like magic because the power of how we create is invisible. You know, when we have evidences of the magical powers of our mind, we think of clairvoyance, telepathy, these secret powers of the mind. And to be able to access even these powers that have an ability to give us even a larger view of the material reality beyond its apparent illusion, to see behind that through clairvoyance and telepathy. It's also represented by this card because the magician uses those hidden powers as well to create. All right. Is Aquarius related to the notion of the magician? Yes, it's ruled. Yes, the magician is an Aquarian card. Yes, it has that sort of almost even humanitarian aspect to it, in the sense that it's about our human connection to everyone, to all beings. We are all made of the same stuff. And this Aquarian ability to identify with one's fellow man as being the same as a system. Aquarius is also a little iconoclastic. And you, in a sense, do have to be a little iconoclastic to express your will, to will for something to exist. There's something, shall we say, there's an aggression about it as well, sort of that we have to act, that we have to actually force. It's a outward. This is a masculine card. Aquarius is masculine energy. So it's this, you think of it more like the male projection, the sun projecting and creating. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that question. All right. I'm just reading. Give me a moment. Buffering and freezing. Does it for everyone? Goodness, I apologize for that. I'm not yet savvy enough to remedy that right now, but I'll look into it. And maybe next time I will have at least improved the situation. Thank you for letting me know. Well, yes, the question here is by plastic surgery. That's so cute, Beth. I'll just call you Beth. When the magician shows up, it means what? That I should work on transmitting my ideas into the physical world? Well, yes, the number of possibilities, although have to do with sort of beginning to do something, beginning to take action, and word, idea, as you may translate it into communication, or you may take your imagination and put it on canvas. Let's just say create your art. How this card is very similar to the idea of painting. When you're standing in front of a blank canvas, that blank canvas is the fool. It's the state of being of the fool when nothing has been specified. But as soon as you place one point of paint on canvas, you've established specificity. You've narrowed the infinite possibilities. Single idea, and then each other till you have a beautiful painting. It's that for our reasons. This video is over. I'll YouTube it and see what advice I can get on it. As someone is saying here, our Tachera. Oh, these are not easy. Hello, Ria. Hello. Well, something I have a spiritual significance showing us, pointing out to us what tremendous powers and what a wonderful gift. How it begins, how we in God's powers to create, how we shouldn't fear anything, how signs of infinity are all around us, showing us not to fear. This is an eternal cycle of change, one we re-enter constantly in order to become the I will what I will be. You see, it's about us developing our multiple selves to become more than ourselves each and every incarnation, each and every time. And when you see it just in a mundane reading and you're wondering, should I do something or should I hesitate and ponder and reflect? Well, the instruction is it's time now to act, to engage your will, to choose, to make a decision. This is what is so powerful about the card as well. Hi, Samantha. Welcome. Welcome. So I will wait for any more questions, and then I if you don't have any, then I can just simply maybe discuss whatever you've found in your readings. I usually, after this, would like to try and see the various interpretations in a 4-card spread. It helps sometimes because you might be familiar with my 4-card spreads. I've been doing them forever. And so these positions then maybe can elucidate even more about the card. So I'll try that. All right. So say we found the card in the first position, the position of the overall energy of the month, let's just say of July. All right. There's your magician. Well, do you think that it will be a very creative month? Very active month? A very loquacious, communicative month where your methods of communication might take center stage, where your ideas then become manifest. These are the overall meanings that you can derive from that card's position. If the card were to fall in or land in the second position of your challenge, well, then that's your challenge. Your challenge is to hone your will, to become more self-disciplined, and this is very important, because what you're really doing is you're instating a deep self-belief, a belief in your spiritual potential, the creative and latent talents and abilities that are within you, that you must become more trusting of the universe, more trusting of yourself, more understanding that will is the means by which you then harness that potential and drive it out into the manifest world. If it lands in the next position, the third position, the unexpected, then it adds a sort of lighter mood to it, in the sense that what it's really saying that, and you must understand this, if let me back up. When you are a natural person, not always driven by the sort of clock, to not be driven by the mandatory dictates of reason and logic alone, but when you allow for the magic to take place already, to let the universe participate with you, to establish your connection with the outer world, to connect on an inner level so that the world can manifest for you, surprise you, create the magic for you, so that your ideas and your thoughts can ground themselves in the material world. This is beautiful. I always am very excited when I see the magician land in the position of the expected, because you can expect some magic, something a little bit outside of the realm of predictability, um, where you know that one thing leads to another in a sort of factory made procession from one idea to the other, to sort of break that and let the universe come in and create for you the conditions needed for the manifestation to take place. That's the most exciting place to find that card. And in the final card, that as the outcome, it says that with all of your efforts, with all the due diligence, dedication, study, drive, focus, you will manifest. And it will come as a result of all you've done internally. So, all right. That said, if you have any questions again, or would you like to just speak? Hello. Hugs from Honolulu. Oh, by the way, um, our Tatchers, you live in Honolulu. I, lived on Maui for many, many years, maybe 18 years, I don't know. And I want to go back. I went back last year, but not for very long. And this year, I would like to return for the entire month of August. And there is a beautiful yoga studio in Lahaina, where I'm going, that is allowing me to teach there and to film my yoga classes and broadcast them live on my YouTube channel. And so I'll be there for a month. I'm trying even to maybe make it 6 weeks, but I've got a kitty cat and I'll worry and worry about her. So I don't know if I will or not. A month is a long time to be for my kitty. So I'll let you know as we get closer, but maybe. But I want to show you visually through filming some of the places on the west side of Maui too that I love. So yes, yes. So sweet. Thank you, Samantha. Oh, you would. Good, good. I have some a kind of more of Maui last time. I showed you the place I was staying, the house I was staying at. It's on my playlist on my channel. Last time I went. But do you know that the volcano was erupting? This was in May of last year. The volcano was erupting exactly when I got there. And even though the volcano is on a different island, that island is not that far away. And so it was hard for me to breathe sometimes, the sulfur in the air, I mean. So that situation has been tamed a little bit. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get around a little bit more and show you the parts of the island that are more secret and beautiful. Although I may not tell you how to get there. Oh yes, I'll be staying in Lahaina in a beautiful little sort of like a, I guess they're called mother-in-law units, right? Where it's a little area all unto itself off of a main house. That's where I think I'm going to be. Hi, glowing vegan. You're late, but here. Well, you can always see this. There was buffering, they tell me, and I get annoyed when I watch my shows that I like on YouTube and it starts buffering and I go crazy. I can't hear you. So I might have to change the settings. I think I remember seeing something about that. Though again, I'm new to this, so just give me a little while to learn how to do all of this. Yes. Well, do you need the tarot cards to read the future? Sometimes you don't need them. There are many gifted psychics, as I said, who are born with the talent of seeing the future. We are all born with various levels of this talent, telepathic talent, insight into the future, our own future or those of others. But the reason that the tarot was made is because not all of us are gifted with the same level of ability to use our telepathy or clairvoyance. That's right. So the tarot, what it does is, I mentioned in the first video about the fool. I mentioned there that it is in fact um, the way that the subconscious and the conscious, in a sense, communicate with each other is through symbol. When you dream visually. You take a feeling, an idea, and you translate it into a scene, an experience, a thing, an object, a person, an event. You symbolize it and then learn from it. Our dreams are hints, you see, as to how the whole mechanism of the psyche works. So the tarot speaks in the language of symbol. And just a simple thing like pointing up and down gives you this sense of what it's trying to convey to you that is not reachable by language. It's reachable by that experience of things and objects and events that we've gone through. So all of these cards have various aspects of the reality that we experience so that it can help us to open up, to remove any barriers we may have, intellectual, fearful barriers we may have towards connecting to our own clairvoyance, our own natural clairvoyance. You see? So it's merely a help, a tool. And at some point, yes, you may not need it at all. You don't need them. Then don't use them. You are one of the more evolved of us. I I've always enjoyed reading. I've always enjoyed spiritual literature. I've always enjoyed um, poetry, sort of the tools that we've made for one another to help us to always return to the divine within. I don't have any objection to them. I know the power isn't in the card. I know where the power is. It's in me and in God. And that's where the power is always. These are just handy, interesting, and revelatory of who we really are. All right. Thank you, Surgery Beth. I hope that's not literal. All right. Lahaina, yes. Sounds perfect, Lahaina. Comfort with a mother in law unit. Glad you're able to connect with the place for yoga. Yes, it so happens that Island Spirit Yoga is a yoga facility, probably one of the best on the island, if not the best. I haven't been there for many years, but it was. And its premier yoga studio on the west side, run by a beautiful lady who started it 15 years ago when I lived there. And she remembered me. And I taught yoga and surfing when I was there, taught in her studio before. So this is very odd. So I'll be going back and teaching in her studio. Hold on just a second. Sorry. What I noticed, and I had to immediately remedy, was that power cord had slipped off the computer, and then we wouldn't have any power. We can't let that happen. So, all right. Look at that. We've absolutely amazing. So, well, yes, not without expense, but sometimes it doesn't matter, you know. I like to I like to have adventures that mean something to me. That um, to go home is a beautiful thing. I have a friend who's Irish, and he's going home to Ireland for a month, and I consider Maui somewhat my home. I've never really had a very permanent place to live. I've lived here 10 years, Miami for 10 years, Maui for, as I said, 18. So it really does represent for me home in a way. And so I guess that's why I'm always drawn to it. Questions you must ask now, and then if not, then I'll be ending the stream fairly soon. Well, when I go there, Beth, I'll let you know, and maybe you can come by. Not in Lahaina, I just want to ride bicycle. I love to ride bike. And when I lived on Maui for those 18 years, believe it or not, I did not drive. I rode my bike everywhere. It was crazy. And they don't, you would think that Maui would have bicycle paths on the west side for all the tourists that go there, but they don't. And so it's not that, it has its dangers. But actually, I can't remember anything really bad happening on my bicycle. So that's what I'm going to do. You're from California? You haven't been in Hawaii for years? Yes. Well, I went last year. But prior to that, I hadn't been for many years either. So I'm going this year. So if you have any questions, well, I still have a few more minutes. Yes, you did. Practically the whole thing. But the magician, oh, it's about magic. It's all about magic, the magic of our lives, how we create, how we create our lives, how we are like God in that we are given the gift to manifest. So it gives us a positive attitude. And whenever you see it in a reading, it's a blessing. Believe me, even in the position of your challenge, it is a blessing. So, all right. Then the next card is the female equivalent of the magician, the female aspect of creation, the High Priestess. So, all right, I just don't want to let you go. Try to get it to be in the afternoon so that people in Europe can watch, because it's not too late for them, and still early enough for the people on the East Coast, and doable for those in the Midwest and the West Coast too. And I don't know about Hawaii. So thank you everyone for joining me, and I will see you in our next tarot talk when we will discuss the High Priestess. All my love and aloha. Let me